Superman 2025, is this movie any good? Let me tell you what I think, my honest opinion coming up next. Alright, I walked into the theater. Judy, the ticket taker, as always, took my ticket and said, well, this Superman is just like the old one. They're redoing Margot Kidder all over again. Everything's the same. I must say, Judy, I think she's often wrong, and she's definitely wrong here. This movie drops you into the Superman story in medias res, in the middle of the action, where Superman is getting hurt. He's got to go back to his Arctic home where his parents have an ice fortress. I don't understand this. Anyway, he's battling it out with a bunch of different figures. Lex Luthor is after him, and Superman is saving the world, including Metropolis, which is here a stand-in for any major city, just like New York, and buildings are going to fall. This is basically an action movie figure movie, which things are destroyed and obliterated, and it's all for good fun. Meanwhile, presumably a lot of people are killed. It reminds me of like the first Avengers movie, where it's basically little kids playing with their toys. That's my vision of it when I was a 6-year-old playing with toys. This is what I did, and here it is on screen. Superman here is played by David Corenswet, and you know, it's fine, except they give him not too much to do, because for most of this movie, Superman is hurt, bedridden, injured, he's in prison for a while, or he's arguing with his girlfriend, Lois Lane, and that is almost the entire movie for Superman, getting hit and beat up. But this is not like those sort of middle-aged, comic book movies like The Dark Knight Rises, where you're supposed to suffer and learn how to be a dude or something like that in the world. No, this is for 11-year-old, in my opinion, the entire movie. And it doesn't really go beyond that sensibility. In fact, why should I bother with the plot? Lex Luthor acts as the Coyote here, and Superman is the Roadrunner. I mean, that is a lot of what happens. The second act of the movie takes place in a pocket universe that Lex Luthor created because he can make a big bang and make new universes. And my actual notes, I must read this to you. The second act. This is why I think it's for 11-year-olds. Superman battles mecha prison guards to save a weird alien baby while floating down an anti-proton river in a pocket universe to help a metamorphed squiggly man. That actually happens in the movie. There's spaceships, there's Mr. Terrific flying around and tracking Superman and everybody else through nanorobots. There's an engineer who does... okay, whatever. This movie, after about the 30-minute mark, just doesn't care and goes into action figure territory. And, Scorsese is right and wrong when he says that these movies are like theme parks, but there's never been a more theme park movie than this one, in my opinion. I should have told you about the plot, but I did. Lex Luthor here, it's in the middle of the action. We don't know why he wants to go after Superman until later, when it's revealed he needs a little plot of land to create a tech utopia in some desert landscape. They use old DC Universe countries, Boravia and Jurundapar. It sounds like, Moravia and India are going at it, but whatever. But these two lands are battling it out from afar. One needs Superman's help because they're being invaded. I have no idea that there's a Russian-Ukraine thing here, by the way. But I did not understand Lex Luthor. In fact, I hated the whole Lex Luthor deal. And AI tells me that the portrayal here is intense and memorable as people are describing that. There's no way. I'm sorry, Nicholas Hoult, he's probably a great actor, but he doesn't have the face for a villain. And, Hitchcock said, your movie's as good as your villain is. The better the villain, the better the movie. Here, you got a guy who looks like you could punch him in the face, he'd fall down and cry. And I'm not scared of Lex Luthor at all. He's got an army of AI warriors, a bunch of humans on computers doing stuff to sniff out Superman and to shut him down. But as the movie goes along, it's so stupid because he can clone Superman, he can create his own universes. Why does he need this little dumpy piece of desert land? Who cares? You can do whatever you want. You are more powerful than Superman. Well, of course, the writers do not care and don't think about what's going on in this movie at all. In one scene, for example, Mr. Terrific takes out all kinds of military people while Lois Lane looks on in awe. And then it cuts to her after about 5 minutes of battle. And her line is, and it's just an amazingly well-written line, I can't believe it, holy shit. That is the level of this movie through most of it. And I think not caring about motivations and character. There's a lot of goofy humor involving a dog here. I must keep ranting. The CGI dog craze is terrible. There's a CGI dog in this movie. It looks awful to me. It looks like kitsch and junk. I do not like CGI dogs. In fact, there's a lot of CGI in this movie that does not look good, and that should not be the case in this current year. But this movie is absolute trash when they recycle the same lines they do in these big dumb blockbusters, probably AI or algorithms tell them to say this. When Superman's dad, his human dad, says, "Your choices, your actions, that's what makes you who you are." And then he starts crying, and then that sums up what Superman is and should be. Nice line, nice sentiment. We could break down that philosophically. It's in Mission Impossible, it's in all these other movies. You know the movie is treating you as a complete idiot when some character says that out loud, and that's the motivational speech for the movie. Now, clearly, I'm ticked off here. It's been 17 years or more since the first Iron Man. There's been superhero movies before that. Obviously, no duh, the first Superman in the 1970s. But these things could be interesting. They could be of our times. Here we've got a movie that has newspapers and TV news. Meanwhile, if it's for 11-year-olds, there's hardly any cell phones in this at all. How can this continue to go on and movies pretend that we don't live in the real frickin' world? I don't know when people are going to demand real character development and interesting, intriguing villains with motivations that make sense to an audience. Playing to audiences, general audiences who are normies and work normie jobs, and they don't play to fanboys and fangirls and cosplayers, which I think is a lot of what happens in this movie. But hey, this thing is getting great ratings online. 82% on the hyperinflated Rotten Tomatoes, 7.7 on IMDb. We'll probably bring out more of this stuff, and there'll be more rock'em sock'em action figures to destroy cities. Anyway, as you can tell, it's got me going, because I despise the movie in a lot of ways, but I do like Rachel Brosnahan and stuff. I wish she could be in something good here, so I hope she gets work that makes sense. And David Corenswet isn't bad. They just put him in prison and put black stuff all over his face and make him look hideous and make him cry in pain. That's most of what he's doing in this movie, unfortunately. But anyway, positive reviews about Superman, whatever. Let us know what you think in the comments, and I guess please subscribe to this channel for more great content. I got 600 videos. I got a book over here. I got Substack. I got all kinds of stuff. Better movies out there to watch. See you later.